The book I chose to read was In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Then the sheriff said, "Where does this go to?" meaning another door there in the basement. The sheriff led the way, but inside you couldn't see your hand until they found a light switch. It was a furnace room and very warm. Around here, people just install a gas furnace and pump the gas smack out of the ground. It doesn't cost them a nickel. That's why all the houses are overheated. But I took one look at Mr. Clutter, and it was hard to look again. I knew the plain shooting couldn't account for much blood. And I wasn't wrong. He had been shot, all right, the same as Kenyon, but the gun held right in front of his face. But probably he was dead before he was shot, or anyway dying, because his throat had been cut too. He was wearing striped pajamas, nothing else. His mouth was taped. The tape had been wound plumb around his head. His ankles were tied together, but not his hands. Or rather, he managed, God knows how, maybe in rage or pain, to break the cord binding his hands. He was sprawled in the front of the furnace, on a big cardboard box that looked as though it had been laid there specially. A mattress box, Sheriff said. "Look here, Wendell." What he was pointing at in cold-stained footprint on the mattress box. A half-sole footprint, with circles, 2 holes in the center like a pair of eyes. Then one of us, I don't recall, pointed at something else. A thing I can't get out of my head. There was a steam pipe overhead, and nodded it to it. Dangling from it was a piece of cord, the kind of cord the killer had used. Obviously, at some point, Mr. Clutter had been tied there, strung up by his hands, and then cut down. But why? To torture him? I don't guess we'll ever know who did it, or why, or what went on in that house that night. This book had tried to be banned in California because the parents didn't like the violence in the book and they didn't want their kids reading it.